Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Richard Grannon and Friends. Today, I am joined by Emily Blastock and Mr. Joe Bromiley.
Hello.
Hello. We've been trying to get on for a while. I've been wanting to ask you some things. Joe, if I could start with you. Who are you? Where do you come from? What's your life all about, sir?
My name's Joe. I'm from the Whittle, originally New Brighton. I lift weights. I do strongman.
You lift very large weights.
Very large weights. I'm a personal trainer at Empowered Fifth. And it's good fun.
You competed recently?
Yes. November was my last one. That was the British Powerlifting Championships.
Right.
My next one coming up is next month.
And Emily, you've been on before.
I've been on a few times now.
You've been on a few times now. And if you tell us a little bit about who you are, your background.
So I'm Emily. I am a personal trainer and life coach. I work at Empowered Fit with Joe. That's all. But I'm a powerlifter. I suppose that's probably important to mention.
That's important. Now, you both went to this powerlifting competition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you both did very well.
Yeah, I think we both came third.
We both came third. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That's good.
In our own categories, yeah.
Yeah. Were you happy with your lifts on the day?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do my last squat, which would have been quite nice. But apart from that, I hit everything was a PB still, so I was happy.
What did you do for your squat that day?
I squatted 350 kilo.
350 new English kilograms, Jacob.
Yes.
What was it that day? You were doing like a deload or something, and you were doing sets of 10 with 140 kilos when I was chatting to you.
Oh, something like that, yeah.
And then pausing at the bottom.
Yeah, with the bench. Was it? Oh, it was pause squats, was it?
Squats.
Yeah. Just moving a bit of weight.
Just moving a bit of weight.
Yeah.
10 reps, sat at the bottom, just did the Macarena, then got back up.
Yeah.
I was like, bloody hell.
Hips don't lie.
So you also do the strongman competitions as well?
That's more my primary thing is the strongman. I do powerlifting competitions towards the end of the year, like the British Championships, because I find that training for powerlifting, with it being a lot more like static-based strength, really carries over to the strongman, where the static lifts are my weakness.
Okay.
So moving events, things like carrying a yoke and truck pulling, things like that, I'm pretty good at. Yeah. But it's always been the static lifts that have let me down. So I figured it was 2 years ago I did my first powerlifting.
Yeah, probably would have been.
And I found that with the powerlifting training, I think I trained for 12 weeks for a competition and then 8 weeks for a competition after that. And I put 15 kilo onto my PB for deadlift.
Did you?
Which was huge.
Yeah.
And I think about 15 kilo on my squat as well.
Wow. So what are the static lifts in strongman that you struggle with?
You get a deadlift, which, I mean, the deadlift can be very varied in strongman, whereas in powerlifting, it's a standard bar with weights on the end.
Yeah.
In strongman, it can be a normal bar, it can be an axle bar, it can be a frame with a car on the back of it.
And you just find out on the day what it is?
You find out in advance, but you can do 5 different competitions in a year, and each one's got a different deadlift.
Right.
That kind of thing. But there's also like any kind of overhead pressing as well. There doesn't tend to be a squat in strongman. It's not as popular an event.
Yeah.
But it's normally like overhead press or deadlift from the floor.
Okay. Yeah. You ever fancied strongman stuff, Emily?
Oh, that's actually how I started the strong stuff.
Yeah, you started with strongman and then went over
I did one comp with you, didn't I? Which is actually outside Empowered in 2018.
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah.
And I was shit at everything apart from the deadlift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then a few people were like, you probably should try powerlifting because you only have to do like one lift really heavy.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So that's getting over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was there watching you.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be. There was a mate of mine from Hong Kong. I know through martial arts, and he's big into powerlifting and strongman and stuff. And he said, I'm coming to the UK somewhere in, it's not Liverpool, but it's near Liverpool. Can I come and stay with you? And can you take me to the strongman competition? I said, yeah, no problem. Do you know where it is? Oh, it's near a hospital. What's the hospital? Arrow Park. I was like, that's my gym, mate. That's where I train. It's literally where I train. So he came, and I think he was actually talking about you about 3 days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for the where you pick up the massive heavy ball.
Yeah, the Atlas stones.
The Atlas stone.
Yeah. And
then toss it over the bar.
Yeah.
You had put something on your forearms.
Tacky, yeah. So it's sort of, in a way, it's like a resin.
Right.
Almost like a wax, almost like a wax of resin.
Okay.
And it just helps you to stick to the concrete stone.
I think he didn't put anything on.
Right.
And he ripped, like his skin was absolutely battered.
Oh, mine
afterwards.
gets like that anyway.
Yeah.
I've not done any Atlas stones for about 3 months. I've got back into them 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I've lost all the hair and some of the skin off my forearm after 2 sessions.
It's a good way of waxing your arms.
It is, yeah. I end up with my forearms being gigantic calluses. Once I get into it, yeah.
Because he said to me the other day, he said about the tacky, he said, do you remember that huge guy with the beard at your gym? I was like, yes, that's Joe. I was really impressed on the day with what I saw. Like, I thought it was absolutely amazing. Because those Atlas stones that people are moving, were they up to 90 kilos or something?
The one that we were doing was 145.
The fuck? I would die. What did you do? What did you go up to on the Atlas stones on that day? Do you remember?
I think the women's would have been about 50.
50, 60,
I
something
think
like
it was
that.
for reps.
Yeah,
For the women.
It was one over the bar.
Yeah, and I didn't get a single rep.
I got one.
Not a rep was done that day. You got one at 145.
Yeah.
I think I don't think Reg did amazing. I think like he stopped at like 100 or something because I think he ripped, he strained his bicep with the Atlas stone.
That's one thing that the tacky helps to prevent, because you're stuck to the stone, it doesn't slip, so it doesn't, like when your muscles are tensed, it doesn't.
So you're not
drag
fighting
them.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one was that he actually bought the equipment for because he was so upset with himself. He's got a very good, I think, clean and press with a standard bar.
Yeah.
But the thing that you guys do that with, he couldn't move.
Yeah.
What is it?
Log. They call it a log, yeah.
The log. Yeah. Couldn't
Basically
move.
a big metal cylinder with handles in the front, in the middle, sorry.
Yeah. He said it was much more awkward.
I find it easier, but you have to get used to it.
You have to get used to it.
Yeah, it's very different to very, very different to any kind of barbell.
Yeah. No, I when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's not what I expected. It's not what I expected at all. And you couldn't always tell by the size of people what they'd be able to move. I seem to remember there's a guy with, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it's one of the lads from the gym, with the yoke. I think he won the yoke thing, and he was quite a slim guy.
Yeah. If it was I can't remember which category you might be talking about, but the fella who won our category overall, he was, I think, maybe the smallest out of us.
Right.
But he was just he was so strong. He'd been training a while.
Okay.
He was a good, strong lad.
I remember him because there was lads way bigger than him trying to move that yoke and couldn't, and he put it on and almost ran with it. I was like, well, this just doesn't even, what magic is this? It doesn't even make sense. One of the things that we usually talk about on the podcast is we get into mental health issues and stuff, which I do want to get into. But first of all, I just wanted to ask, how long have you been a feminist for, Joe?
A feminist?
I always tell other people this story before you came on.
Okay.
Gwen, you might not remember this. I was talking to you one day about the podcast and saying, the views for the podcast that I do with women, they're like almost twice the amount for men. And you said because there's not enough platforming of women's voices at the moment.
Well, I mean, in a way there's not. If you look at, I can give you an actual percentage, but like you say, 90% of podcasts are all men.
It's men just chatting.
Yeah, or they're hosted by men with female guests.
So with that kind of I actually just did a podcast run by a woman last week, Danica Patrick. She's a race car driver in America. That's coming out this week. You will watch podcasts with women who are guests.
Yeah.
You would?
Well, yeah. I don't watch many podcasts, but if it's got a subject that takes me fancy, I'll watch it. It doesn't matter who's on it.
I'd never actually thought about it. I'd never thought about it at all. But I just like saying Joe's a male feminist.
Yeah.
The biggest male feminist I've ever known. But it is true. Like those podcasts, generally speaking, they do an awful lot better. So I was saying to Emily today, we're going to have to talk about using the gym to deal with mental health issues, because I just did a stonking 2-hour workout when I was supposed to train for 50 minutes because I've got a bit of chaos in my life and this is something I can control. Have you experienced any of that yourself? Do you find yourself using the gym to help moderate issues?
I don't do as much anymore, but I have done in the past massively. Yeah. If I've been struggling with any mental health issues, like my depression. Yeah. In the past, I've used the gym as, I'll go in and train. I'll do this, I'll do that. And then I remember once it got to a point where I went in and I think back then my max deadlift was about 250, 260 kilo. I went in and 180 kilo wouldn't move off the floor. Right. And I was thinking I started getting really pissed off with myself. Yeah. Because I was like, this is an easy weight. Why can't I move it? Yeah. And then it was only later that night, once I'd gone home, got a shower, calmed down, I was like, I've trained 20 days in a row.
Ooh.
Yeah. And my body was crying.
The you guys will know this better than I would. With the deadlift, is that one of those movements that really lets you know where your central nervous system is up to?
Yeah. That's, for me personally, yeah. If I know if I'm not moving a deadlift very well, then I need to rest.
Yeah. The deadlift moves, it's the most weight usually that you're going to lift. It recruits the most muscles in your body out of any exercise. So naturally it's going to be the most taxing on your body physically, mentally, and your central nervous system will be shot.
Right.
Yeah.
I only, once in my life, I think it was like 6 weeks in Malaysia, so it's a long time ago, tried following a powerlifting protocol for training. Psychologically, I found that very, very, very challenging because I had no fucking clue what I was going to be able to lift on any day that I went in. And I was like, you know, if I was doing this last week and I was moving it for this many reps last week, why is it not moving at all this week? But like you say, that's more like, that's a burnout thing. It could be central nervous system.
Yeah,
it's not so much just, I mean, that is a huge part of it, but it can also be sleep, nutrition, mood. Anything can affect it. 2 weeks ago on my program, it was 255 kilo for 2 sets of 4. I got 2 single reps.
Really?
And I just couldn't physically move anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point now where, like, a few years ago, I would have got pissed off, would have got angry, I would have stormed out the gym. I just sort of like went, okay, that's not moving. I'll do my accessory work. I'll go home.
Yeah.
And I was sat at home and I was like, yeah, I got about 3 hours sleep last night and I didn't have a breakfast.
Okay.
The following week, 270 kilo flew off the floor.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's a sport where you can't do what I'm doing then. You couldn't just have a day where you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to blast myself to bits just because.
No.
Not really.
Not if your performance is your number one focus.
Right.
If you're just doing it for the enjoyment factor with training, then it probably wouldn't matter so much. But if you're looking to compete, like we're both in prep at the moment, aren't we, for powerlifting meets? So we can't take our focus away from that. Otherwise, you jeopardize your future progress.
So how long have you got until your next powerlifting meet?
I'm about 12 weeks out, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 weeks for my next strongman one.
It's strongman you're doing next, is it?
Yeah, so my next one is in Northern Ireland on St. Patrick's weekend.
Oh, lovely. And you won't be able to drink anything?
As
soon as you finish, you'll be like, give us a
so I'm going over with one of my best friends, Darren, and my partner, Hazzy. And I think I'm going to give her the main job of keeping me off the beer on the Friday night. Because it's the Saturday we're competing.
Yeah.
And I'll probably have a couple while I'm competing.
Will you?
Because I enjoy it. It's for me, the competitions are a fun day out with friends, lifting weights. And I want to be as relaxed as I can.
Yeah.
And if I sit, like, after 1 or 2 events, I'll sit there, and if I feel like it, I'll get a beer from somewhere.
Yeah.
And just 1 or 2, something like that, because I find
doesn't affect your performance.
It doesn't affect my performance. It chills me out a little bit. It stops me stressing.
It stops you stressing.
Yeah.
Would you have a drink, Emily, mid competition? No.
Not with my history, dear. No.
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 Would it not just be 1 or 2 drinks? Is that what the problem
is?
Yeah,
that's the issue. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, like, if you want to see consistency with your numbers going up, you have to be pretty disciplined in the gym then.
Yeah.
And with your rest.
And outside the gym as well. Yeah. So rest and recovery, nutrition as well. So if you're not getting enough protein, you probably are not going to repair. If you're not getting enough carbs, you're not going to have enough energy and all that kind of stuff.
It's funny you say that about with sleep and with food. I remember one of the times in Malaysia where I was really, really focused on the numbers. I just went into the gym and it was after I'd eaten some disgusting burger, like this hideous burger. And I was really, really strong afterwards. And I did it's not an amazing number, but I managed to set it up and get a bench press of 135 kilos. This is when I was like 35 years old, not been training that long.
Yeah.
On my own. None of my mates were there. And they were like, don't believe you. I was like, no, I did. I definitely, with no one helping you. No one's helping me except the burger that was inside of me. That special burger power. Next time I tried it, I was back to about 120 max. It was just one of those things. So in the past, you have used going to the gym to help with, you said depression specifically. Yes. Yeah. What age did you start having symptoms of depression?
I don't think I could really pinpoint it, but it got worse when I was around 28, 29. I'm 33 now.
Okay. Yeah. So about 5 years ago, it got worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so.
And did you start training harder and more seriously around then as well?
I just started training more for a while, and wasn't able to sit back and look at issues with my training. So, like, for example, like the other week, when I failed that 255, what I would have done back then is gone to the gym the next day and tried it again.
Wow.
And tried it until I got it.
That's on deadlift?
Yeah.
How many times have you injured your back?
Never.
You're joking me?
I've had a few years ago. I had I've had muscles like spasm, and basically I was walking funny for a few days and like struggling to shift. But then after about 4 or 5 days, back to normal. It was literally just, I think it was at the point I was overtraining. I was doing some quite like barbell rows at the end of the session. My back just went.
Yes.
And I had to lie on the floor for 20 minutes.
Okay.
Before I could get my car. Apart from that, I've never had an injury to my back.
You ever done 23andMe to see what's in your DNA?
I have not.
How much Viking blood you've got going running through your veins. Every story I've ever heard of somebody saying, I didn't get my deadlift, so I went in the next day to do it again. Every single story that I've ever heard like that, they're like, and then I had to take 3 weeks off or 3 months off or,
I've never injured, because if it's not moving, I don't fight it.
Okay.
So I don't risk like me back rounding and put myself into a hard position. And I just, if it's not going to come off the floor, I'd just take a step back and go. Even back then when I was training all the time, when I was
you wouldn't do
I still wouldn't push myself doing something stupid.
What's
like
the
that.
thing where it hangs half? Is it called hitching? Where
Yeah.
people, you never got involved in that.
I used to when I didn't have very good technique.
Okay.
When I first started out, before I started getting coached.
You don't like hitching?
Oh no.
Hitching's not allowed in powerlifting.
No, it's not allowed in powerlifting.
Oh,
It's got to be a smooth lift.
A smooth lift. Okay.
Strongman, anything goes. You see lads you see lads get the bar, like the thighs, sit down, rest for a moment, and then drag it the rest of the way up.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They bend
allowed.
time and space.
Just to get the lift. We'll do anything to get this fucking lift.
Yeah.
So that was around age 28. Was it any particular reason, do you think, why you were experiencing that?
I don't know. I'm not sure what was really good. I was struggling with like keeping jobs down at the time. I was going from job to job and stuff like that. And so it's probably like a big part of it will have been lack of routine for me, I think.
There's something in astrology that's around for a man at age 28. What the hell is it called? It's called the something return. Anyway, it's
the knobhead return for me.
That's what it's called. It's called the knobhead return.
And he stayed.
And didn't leave ever again. Saturn return, thank you. The Saturn return, age 28 for a lot of men, it can be a bit of a crisis.
Oh right, okay. Maybe that was part.
Yeah. You're sort of staring down the barrel of 30. Don't really know exactly what you're doing. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing at 28, and it can lead to a bit of depression. So we've discussed this before: training and overtraining for coping. Depression. Have you ever used it for depression?
No. So I mean, I definitely used training during like my more recent dark times, but I think when I experienced my spout of depression, I was too young and I wasn't into fitness then. But I've definitely used it as a coping mechanism when I didn't feel myself and I'd lost parts of myself. And I think for me, the training really kept me grounded and focused because I had a goal that wasn't really focusing on me and my mind. It was focusing on the gym, and that gave me a bit of headspace away from the sort of mental torment that I was going through at the time.
Right. I think today I was feeling, I don't know what the fuck I was feeling. I might have had too much coffee. But I was anxious. I was super, super fucking anxious when I walked into the gym. And I was like, just have a warm up, you'll be okay. And then once I'd gotten okay, like physiologically and psychologically, I feel okay now. I just didn't fucking stop. Yeah, it's just like the next thing and the next thing. Oh, I've done leg curls for a while. You haven't done leg extensions for a while. And then I was like, well, I haven't done most fucking things if we're going to play this game. I haven't done most fucking things for a while. Like, you just be in here all day. And it was, about the hour and 45 mark. I was like, I'm going to be so angry with myself tomorrow. I feel like shit. What do you get? Like, if you have a heavy lift scheduled, like your deadlift day, do you know that you're not going to be feeling particularly great the next day, or do you find your recovery's okay now?
My recovery's fine. Yeah.
You have nothing the next day?
No. The only time I really feel it is, say, when I'm in the off season, because I get coached. So when my coach programs me in off season and it suddenly goes from heavy lifts to a lot of reps, I'll feel it for a few days after that, for the first 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
And then when I've competed, because competing is just giving everything. Yeah. You know, you're going absolutely max out on everything.
Yeah.
you're not leaving anything there. You're just giving all your effort.
Yeah.
So I'll feel rough for a few days after that.
A few days after the competition. Yeah.
But I will also get straight back into the gym a day or two afterwards to get back into routine.
Okay. And does it physically feel better if you're back in the gym and you're moving a bit of blood around to it?
I think so, yeah. I won't do anything like big, but like so I'd get into the gym and do maybe 50 to 60% of my max, say on squat, and do sets of 5. Something like that. So just keep moving. And then,
so you're quite happy to go in and do 50, 60% of max and cruise?
Well, yeah, when I need to, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
wow.
I wouldn't have done.
You're much more mature than I am. I'm like 17 years older than you. I'm a knobhead. I'm like, I could do 5 of them, but that means I'd probably be able to do 50 of them then. Let's see at what point I break. Do you have issues with recovery? Do you get sore the next day or?
Well, I think I understand it. The longer that you train, the better that your recovery is because your body just gets used to that adaptation. I think it's also learning individually how you respond to recovery. Writing a good program is a finite balance of learning how you respond or clients respond. I find women recover a lot better than men and can undergo a lot more volume.
Are they recovering better or do they just whinge less?
Probably both.
Probably both.
Probably both. But yeah, I get a bit of sore. Similarly to Joe, if I go from like a low volume, high weight back into like an endurance rep range. So post powerlifting meet, I would usually go back into an endurance cycle to work on. An
endurance cycle, but you said, did you say it's higher weight and less reps?
So when you peak for a powerlifting meet, obviously you're pushing the top end of numbers.
Okay.
So obviously the more weight you do, the less reps you're likely going to do.
Okay.
So then from when I go from that phase back into say like 15 reps or 20 reps, my body's going to go, Christ, we haven't been here for a while.
Yeah, volume's not good, is it?
Yeah, so I do feel it then.
Yeah. So 15, and you're doing like 15 reps of a deadlift.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
You do massive volume on your off seasons, don't you?
Yeah, I like the high volume.
Do you really?
Yeah, I like that burn.
I used to train with a girl who was like that in Malaysia. She was the one who actually put me through the powerlifting protocol, and she was crazy though. Sometimes she'd do like 100 reps. She'd be like 10 sets of 10.
That's me.
German volume training.
Yeah.
German volume training, and I was like, all right, I'll do it with you then. Come on then, let's do this.
When did you next train after you did that?
I thought I had the flu. I thought I'd developed the fucking flu. She was like, you're lifting too much weight. And I'm like, no, but I can. And she was like, you can, but you're supposed to be lifting way below your, and do you use this system, the RPE system, where you work out what you're, no?
Sometimes.
A little bit.
It's dependent, I think, on each individual. Like, I know that I can go off a periodized scale of numbers. So like I'd start with a 50 kilo bench, go to 52 the next week, 55 the next week. But sometimes, say I've got a client that might have really bad endometriosis or a client that's got fibromyalgia, then I would probably use an RPE scale so they can identify how they feel on that day. And then they can perform up to that sort of level of ability.
But you don't look
no,
at that.
I've not used that before.
Perceived exertion.
I've not. No, it doesn't fit my training. I know that. I know I wouldn't listen to myself.
You wouldn't listen to yourself?
No. But that's why someone else coaches me.
But you're happy to go. So, and your coach just says go and do 50, 60% of your max.
He sets me a program every 4 weeks, a 4-week block at a time.
Yeah.
I tell him what competitions I've got and when, and he will program me leading up to competitions. And then when I've got no competitions, he programs me in off season for basically hypertrophy building.
And do you film yourself doing the reps so you can see what you're...
Quite often, yeah, especially with if it's heavy compounds, so I can check my form and so that he can check form and things. And a new exercise that I've not done before or not done for a while.
Right.
I'll get him to check it over, and then he'll either say good work or he'll send me a minute-long voice note telling me why I'm wrong and how to do better. In a very loving way.
I got some instruction from you the other day on my squat.
Oh, I know. I was watching you and I was like, I'm just going to go and say hello.
Can I tell them? Did you make it up in the moment what you said to me?
Yeah.
You made that up. Can I say what you told me to do? She said, put your balls in a cup. I was like, what do you mean? She said, just go straight down with your balls to the ground like you're dropping your balls in a cup.
Yeah. Do you know what?
You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Balls in a cup. That's copyrighted Emily Blastock. Put your balls in the cup.
You know what? It's different people respond to different cues.
Yeah.
So for me, it was balls.
Yeah.
She looked at me and she went, "What's he actually going to listen to?"
I know how he works.
I know what he likes.
I was like, "Can you get me a cup?"
I'm sure the cafe would help you out.
Yeah. Let's make it interesting. Because I wasn't going straight down, was I? What was I doing? I was going backwards and down, wasn't I? A little bit.
Because obviously of your previous history with injury, I was just watching you, and your knees were pushing quite forward, and that's okay for some people, but for some people it's not. Like for me, it's not.
Okay.
So I have to think about opening out my hips and dropping more vertical, just to make sure I'm not overloading into the knee.
Yes. So. There's I think when people watch this and they go like for powerlifting, you go, well, it's a bench and then it's a deadlift and it's a squat. How hard could it be?
Yeah.
That was the other thing in Malaysia with my mate when she was teaching me for 6 weeks. I never did the deadlift properly, according to her. She was like, the entire time, there's always something wrong. Squat, okay. Bench, yeah. But like, there's a fuck of a lot of training for these things, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of technical elements to every lift. And I think until, I know that when I coach people that might have been coached by someone else in the past, or people that think they have an idea about the compound movements, how actually technical they are and how also individual they are as well. Like I get a lot of people that go, oh, I've seen this online, or I've seen that, and I've read that, and I've read that. But actually it doesn't really apply to a lot of people. And sometimes they need a different sort of idea of how to move in that movement. A lot of people think bench press is just you pushing your arms, but actually you need a lot of leg drive and a lot of back engagement too that people don't understand. Yeah. I don't feel it in my chest. I feel it in my lats.
Okay.
And then a bit of triceps at the end.
And
a lot of benches as well. You'll notice have a big back.
Yeah.
Like even bench press specialists that don't deadlift much, they will always have a big wide back.
And what's that? Is that the stabilization of the bar?
Yeah.
Or?
So it's opposing muscles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in powerlifting, when you've got a lot of technique to you've got like certain cues you have to listen to. Like you have to be told when to press, when to pause and whatnot, and when to re-rack the weights.
Yeah.
But a lot of powerlifters, when you're doing more powerlifting specific bench, you're told, or the best way to do it is to pull your lats and scap down, almost like you're bending the bar.
Yeah.
Because that creates that stability.
Yeah.
And
that's the powerlifting way of doing it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I've heard that a few times. Usually when I'm being given advice, if it's a powerlifter, yes, they want me here rather than here. They don't like the elbows flaring, and closer on the bar, because I go quite wide.
I go wide.
Yeah, you like it wide, and you're allowed to go wide.
You're allowed to go as long as you're within the rack.
Right.
Yeah, there's little markers on the barbell.
Yeah.
So as long as your index fingers within that line, you're okay. It's a legal bench.
Okay.
So the wider you go, probably the more pectoral engagement you have. The closer that you go is more tricep dominant. I personally prefer like a mid-range. Too close, I don't get the full extension. I feel it in my shoulders quite a lot. But wider, it just, for me, engages a bit more pec because I have a bigger arch when I go wider with my grip.
Oh, okay.
It's down, a lot of it is down to personal preference with the grip. You'll get some people that are naturally more tricep dominant.
Yeah.
In which case, for them, a narrower grip will give them more power.
Yes.
But then I found the wider that I went to a degree, when I got as wide as I do now, that I get so much like drive out of the bottom.
Yeah. I have a similar grip to what I would do a lat pull down with.
Right.
Because the lats are the opposing muscle in the bench press.
So your hands are a similar width as they would be if you're
as
doing
a wide pull down. Yeah.
That's interesting. That I'd actually somebody had done me a program today, and bench was part of it. And I think I've done that much of the closer grip one that actually is more comfortable for me now. So I used to do it more like you, quite wide, quite pec dominant, and now I don't even know where it is. And are we doing this because of the shape of bones, or is this because of where we're naturally strong?
I think it's more muscle engagement. Okay. So if you switch off your pecs, you've lost a whole load of power there, haven't you? So for performance based, you need your pecs to be involved.
Pecs are bigger than the triceps, so you're going to usually get more power out of them.
Yeah.
It's why you'll usually get people benching more than they press overhead, because the pecs are bigger than the delts.
Okay, so it comes down to raw.
You hope.
You hope. Oh, I've seen a few people there. It's not quite there. Yeah. So then we're choosing. So these choices, like whether you go close grip or wide grip or whatever else, it's partly It's partly psychological, but it's partly physiological as well.
Yeah, I'd say it's optimization of your personal training. Yeah.
So if I had someone that was either just wanting to bench big or going towards a powerlifting competition, I'd get them to start bench pressing where they're comfortable.
Yeah.
And then if I can see that they could have more power, I'd say, right, try half an inch wider with each hand.
Yeah.
And if they go, oh, that feels a bit better, I'd go, all right, next time just try half an inch wider again. And keep going until it then, like, if it keeps feeling better, then they'll go wider. But if it starts feeling worse, then they need to bring it back in a little bit, because everybody is different. I wouldn't teach every person that I coach to bench the same as me, because I am built completely differently to the next person.
Yes.
I've got very short biceps and I've got a wide chest. So for me, naturally, I'm going to go wider because I don't have as far down to go.
Why did you laugh when he said he had short biceps?
We're really good friends, so it's like a bit of a joke amongst us.
I've got short arms and legs. Which is why I'm good at benching and squatting.
Wow,
he's just built for bench and squat, but not
which is
very,
why I struggle with the deadlift.
Yeah, not very built for deadlifts because the arms are short.
My
so
arms
the
are short,
deadlift
so I've
has
got to pull it up further. I quite often end up, how to put this, sitting on the bar.
Oh dear.
There's a lot of photos from competitions where I'm just like, oh yeah, you can see it.
A little shelf.
Oh, I see. Fucking hell. Oh my God.
Shelf.
The shelf. So what? Okay, yeah. What are you supposed to do for that? You're supposed to sort of like just tip your bum
Duck
back
under
or
it.
Duck up.
No, I just let it sit.
You just let it sit there.
It's comfortable.
Take your photos.
Take it home.
I don't care.
It's free, that one.
So I never even thought of that. So because that's, and then physiologically, so when you finish your deadlift, is that where it sits?
Yeah, naturally.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't remember where it is for me, but it's not that.
Yeah, you'd know if it was there.
Yeah.
You're quite aware of it.
Yeah. Is that because you've got short arms or a massive...
It's the short arms.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I'm sorry to hear that joke. Moving on. I do remember a few times with it, like, because I got conflicting advice from different people. One of the worst pieces of advice I got was like somebody telling me, and I actually listened to him. It was a guy in Watford. He said, when you do your deadlift, sometimes you should walk away with bloody shins. That's how close it should be to your shins.
A lot of people do.
They have scuffed.
A lot of people do. You'll see a lot of people, powerlifters, strongmen, whatever, with battered shins.
Really?
Yeah. Because they're like, again, I think it differs person to person, but some people will have it a lot closer and will drag it up the shins.
But I'm such a princess that if anything hurt my shins,
yeah,
I'd stop.
I don't like it.
I don't want anything to touch my shins ever.
I'd say it wasn't optimum.
Yeah.
For the personally.
Yeah.
Like when I first started powerlifting, I think I got scraped and bruised shins quite a lot.
Yeah.
But now I don't at all. And I feel like it's just, I've optimized my hamstring flexibility, my levers with my hip hinge.
Yeah.
So the bar doesn't actually really need to be touching my shins at all.
So there's things you're prepared to sacrifice and things you're not. And one of them would be not the shin.
Not the shin.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, I absolutely hated it. I mean, I tried it because he was watching me, but I hated it. Even
some people it'll work for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not everyone. You can't just go and say like, oh well, I drag it up my shins, so everybody should.
Yeah.
I bench wide, so everybody should.
Yeah.
Eddie Hall sits before he deadlifts, so everyone should.
Yeah.
Where does he sit?
Oh, he like sits on the floor to roll
he almost
into
like
the bar.
squats down and then to roll the bar in and then drags it up.
So many people do it. Like he rolls it away, sits down, rolls it in, and then pulls.
And then,
so many people copy it.
And then you
too.
see a lot of people copying him because obviously he had the world's biggest deadlift for a long time.
And they thought that's what.
What to do. But what they forget is that he's wearing one of the tight deadlift suits and was also 200 kilo body weight.
Yes,
yeah.
and couldn't fit down.
So he had to drag the bar to get himself down into the position.
He's not doing that.
He's not doing it for show. He's doing it because he has to drag himself down to be able to lift the bar up. Yeah, to get into the position.
So these suits, I don't know much about the suits. This is all legal in powerlifting, isn't it?
It's different category of lifting. So you have a raw lifter, which would be knee sleeves or wraps for knees. You're allowed wrist wraps and a belt and just your normal singlet. And then equipped lifters are the ones that have the suits. So you have a squat suit, a deadlift suit, and a bench shirt, and they all are an assist of the movement.
Okay.
So usually you can lift a lot heavier, can't you, in a suit?
What they do is because they're that tight on your body when you're standing up, that they want to snap your body back to standing up.
Do you ever use them?
I've never used one, though. Partly because I don't have the money for one at the moment, and partly because
you don't lack moral fibre.
Yeah, it's not that.
Low blow.
Do you use them?
No, I don't use it. I don't use equipped lifting.
I'd be game to try. Don't get me wrong, because I think it'd be quite interesting.
I think people who use them lack moral fibre. I'm what?
Powerlifters are coming for you.
I can outrun you. No, I can't. My knee's fucked. I take it back. Sorry about that. I'm only messing. Don't know what I'm talking about. So like there are people out there who'll go, oh, I've got a 250 kilogram deadlift, but they mean with a special magic suit on that helps me.
Yeah, but then also some people gain more benefit from a suit than others.
Yeah.
So
right?
Yeah, so some people, same with, so when I squat heavy, when I'm leading up to powerlifting, I use the knee wraps.
Yeah.
And I gain quite a bit of benefit from them.
What do they do for you?
They basically, it's similar to squat suit where you put in, it's a stretchy sort of 2.5 meter length of material. You're wrapping your knees as tight as you can. So basically your knees want to be that. You can't bend your knees fully under your own force.
And you use that for deadlift? Squats.
Yeah.
So when you
basically gives you spring from the bottom of the squat.
Gives you a rebound.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you still have to have the leg strength, the core strength to be able to lock it out
Yeah.
from the top.
Okay.
I would always opt, if I ever did equipped lifting, I would use it like an overloading system. So usually if you can lift heavier in an equipped suit, you're probably going to build your raw strength as well.
Okay.
So usually people do both.
People aren't going to lift year round every session. Every time they squat, they're putting a suit on. They're going to do raw lifting as well.
Okay.
But when they're leading up to a competition, they'll put the suits on and they'll lift more weight with it. And
So
the goal is to lift more weight, but they're also not classified in the same as raw lifters.
Okay.
So they're in their own category.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be competing with someone that would be in a shirt or suit.
So you compete in raw lifting.
Yeah.
What do they call these sissies?
Equipped lifters.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care what he is going to do. What he's going to do. Okay, and then like I say, I don't know that much about it. Same with the bench. Presumably, the suit is like stabilized.
It's a
you
shirt.
walk around like this with your arms stuck, and you have to pull the bar into you.
So quite a lot of people, when you see them do the equipped benching, they have their mates putting their hands on the bar in the right place because they can't physically do it.
Yeah, so the shirt is like this.
Just call it cheating.
But then on the flip side, there's a fella who recently got the world record equipped bench.
Yeah.
612 kilo.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
Makes
he's
my
still
130 kg.
he's still got that weight on his arms, his elbows,
Yes.
his chest. He's still benching that weight. It's just that he's got some assistance.
And then, do you know what he does raw?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen.
Like, presumably, it wouldn't be less than 200 kilograms less.
I mean,
You would assume so.
You'd assume it'd be like 250 plus.
Yeah.
250 plus.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still a huge fucking
He's
bench.
still going to be a monster bench.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Equipped lifting is dangerous, though.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of things you've got to consider when you're in a suit. You're not in control of what that suit's doing a lot of the time.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
Should I talk about Tattooed and Strong?
I think you should. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I wasn't there for this day, but I
So-
heard.
Tattooed and Strong is a lovely powerlifting meet that we do in a tattoo convention, and
It's part of a tattoo convention.
it's within the convention. Cool. It's really cool, and there was this guy there that was benching, and I don't even know what the number is.
I heard 390 kilo.
390, I think, on the bench, and he's in the suit, so he's like this. And he goes down, and you see it come down, 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 and he starts to press, and the bar just goes, think, pops off and whacks him on the chest.
Ooh.
And we were all like, oh my God, thinking that the bars like crushed him.
Yeah.
We only found out he broke both of his forearms under the weight of the barbell.
Because he will have gone a little bit
and
out
they
of line.
snapped, boom, both forearms gone.
What, snapped like?
Yes, the full bone just went backwards.
Yeah,
like
because-
Harry Potter.
Like Harry Potter.
because he will have gone like slightly out of line.
And the shirt's just thrown it and snapped both forearms.
Oh God in heaven! So the support is on the chest.
The chest and the tricep. Isn't
Yeah, it does.
Just
It
down
doesn't.
to the
It goes
most-
to just above the elbow.
Yeah.
Chest and elbow. So anything else above there is you.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's minging.
So his lifting career is over now. I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's not.
I'd assume so.
Yeah, he's not doing any lifting now.
There's something that the fighter Khabib said about Conor McGregor when he broke his leg, and I do think it's true. It's like no matter how much you do afterwards to repair that, it's not the same leg.
Yeah.
It's never the same leg again. Which I'm learning with my knee. It is not the same knee as it was before. Yeah. Do you know I finished my knee off in Empowered?
Did you?
Yeah, I actually overtraining. I'd finished like
Weird,
a week.
isn't it?
Weird theme of my life. I'm telling you. So I'd finished a week of training, and on the Sunday I was going to go to the pub in Bebington, the Rose and Crown.
Did you go anyway?
I did.
Yeah, good lad.
To meet my uncle and cousin. I went with a walking stick to meet my uncle and cousin, and I was like, you know what? I'm not supposed to train today. I'll just go and stretch. So I went and stretched.
You never just go and stretch.
But the punch bags are right there. And I was like, so I did 40 minutes stretching, good little yoga session.
Yeah.
Got everything nice and loose, all the ligaments loose. And then was like, do you remember when you were younger? And there was that side kick you used to be able to do to somebody's head. And I was like, yes, I do. Why don't you try it now? Why don't you try it now? And I did it. And he went, you did it? You should probably do it again. You should probably do it again. You should probably do it again. And I did it with my right leg supporting, and it was okay because of the stretching. And then I moved to my left leg supporting. And
so kicking with the right and supported with your left, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but this knee, I used to have fantasies of being an MMA fighter, and once in a cage, somebody had already pulled it. So the ACL was pre-damaged. So I did this extended head height side kick. Because it's head height, all of your weight tips over the knee, and the knee just went, and it broke so viciously that when I went to the operation. Like, I tried to walk it off for about 12 months, couldn't. When I finally went for the operation, they MRI scanned it, and they were like, there's a 50p piece of bone that when you sheared it kicking, it cut off and span around in the knee.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, that's the clicking in me knee. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I wasn't going to go, but the girl I was with, she was like, I'm so sick of watching you limp around, just go and get it seen to.
Yeah.
But empowered. If I'd just gone to the pub, I would have been fine.
Moral of the story.
Moral of the story
Don't
is
overtrain, Richard.
Yeah, stop training.
Oh yeah, don't overtrain.
Don't overtrain.
That's definitely
Just go to the pub too. Great two comparisons of advice.
I actually, even just driving to Arrow Park from there was a fucking nightmare. And at Arrow Park, they were just like, well, it's not broken. Here's one crutch.
And some paracetamol.
Yeah, and off you go. I was like, oh, okay, then fine. I suppose it'll be all right. They've got Aspels on draft at the Rose and Crown, so I just got some of that instead. Yeah. Bit of cider, sorted it out.
Yeah, cider sorts everything.
Everything. Makes everything better.
Or worse.
Or worse, yeah.
There's no grey area.
Up to a certain point, after the fourth pint, it gets worse again. What was I going to say? So, you've not picked up any bad injuries yourself over the years, you said?
No, the worst one that I've had was, I think maybe 3 years ago. It was just maybe a bit longer before I started at Empowered when I was training at Leith.
Yeah.
I partially tore one of my calves.
How'd you do that?
I can't quite remember. It might have been yoke carrying or something, but like, I was probably overtraining again at the time. I was probably smashing runs in.
Yeah.
Even now, I wasn't getting coached at the time, so I was doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I felt something go a little bit. I was like, ooh. So I sort of like ended my session there because while I did overtrain and stuff, I'm not daft enough to like feel something go and go, carry on.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Next day, calf was all completely purple down the bottom. Ooh, and obviously I knew that it wasn't bad because I was still putting weight on it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a ping from the Achilles.
Okay.
Actually, no, it's more of a gunshot. I've heard one go. It's fun.
Is it really loud?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a gunshot.
Ooh.
Yeah. But yeah, so I noticed that like all the purple bruising, I was like, oh shit. So, but I knew it wasn't bad because like I said, I could still put a bit of weight on and everything. So I carried on for about 2 weeks. I did anything like bench or seated shoulders.
Yeah.
Anything that didn't require me to put a lot of weight on that leg.
Yeah.
And then after a few weeks, I was getting a little bit more mobility in it. So I thought, I tried some light deadlifts because my shins stay relatively vertical when I deadlift. I don't put that much flexion onto my calf.
Yes.
And the deadlifts were going all right. So I was like, okay, I can keep doing light deadlifts. A few weeks later, I tried a squat.
Yeah.
It was fine. So,
okay.
And that is about the worst injury that I've had. I've had tendinitis on and off, but that's not really an injury. That's
Where'd you get tendinitis?
Right elbow.
Okay.
And that's normally when I do the powerlifting.
Yeah.
Because I've got very little mobility in my shoulders and arms. And when you deadlift in powerlifting, you're not allowed to use straps. So you have to do either hook grip, where you trap your thumbs with your fingers.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gross.
Or you do the mixed grip, which is what I do.
Yes.
But then obviously because I've not got very good mobility, twisting that to be able to grab a bar
puts a lot of strain on
puts a lot of strain on my elbow. Yeah.
So with the hook grip, would you just have both hands forward? Then,
yeah, and you'd put your thumbs on first, and you use your first 2 fingers to trap the first joint of your thumb and pull off that.
There's a certain amount of pain I'll endure for training, but not actual medieval. Have you done the hook grip?
Only when I've done like Olympic lifting.
You've done it on Olympic lifting?
Olympic lifters use hook grip.
Oh yeah. What?
So your snatch, clean, and jerk.
And you use a hook grip for that?
Yeah. It is the strongest grip.
Yeah, you have to train it.
You do, and you get like all sore in here. And
I just felt very, very good. So the hook grip is the thumb goes against the barbell,
and then your fingers go over your thumb to trap it, so the bar won't move. Yeah.
So you're happy to do hook grip on snatch and
you have to, otherwise you just lose the bar.
You said you'd heard an Achilles go, presumably not yours.
Oh, not mine. No, not mine. No, I've heard them before
in the gym.
No, like people online. Like I've not seen one go.
I see.
I've had a client burst his.
Yeah.
But it wasn't within a session. He was actually dancing.
Dancing?
Yeah.
What dance was he doing?
I don't know. He was at a birthday party apparently, and he was like, "Emily, I've got some news. I've torn my Achilles." Dancing
around. There's the guy who teaches. I do bachata, and the guy who teaches bachata, he's got a bad knee. Same thing, ACL tear. But bachata, you'd use a lot of lateral movement.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I can go to the gym, I can squat, I can lunge, I can go on the bags, and I can't just dance gently from side to side. That's the thing that it winds my knee up the most, just because of you're constantly
the lateral movement,
and the balancing. Have you had any bad injuries?
Yeah, well, you know about my knee, don't you?
Tell us about your knee.
Yeah, so this the mystery of the knee.
The mysterious knee.
The Mr. Knee.
The Mr. Knee. Well, I had like a bit of like a dull ache in the medial knee. I'm sorry if this is going to be really boring now. And it was affecting my walking more than anything else. And I like to walk everywhere. It didn't really affect my training, my lifting, but it was affecting my like everyday life. So walking around the gym, it was like a dull pain and a lot of pressure. And I went to see maybe 5 different physios, and it was the typical patella tracking, or your quads are too tight and it's pulling the kneecap and XYZ, but nothing was fixing it. And literally I was really sure that I'd maybe torn my meniscus. But I think because I'm so muscular, the normal tests weren't showing up that there was a tear in there.
Okay.
And there was a period of time where I was like hobbling around the gym and I couldn't walk on my knee.
Right.
It was so bad, and I wasn't doing any extra walking, nothing. And then I just started rehab work on my own accord, really, assuming that it was like a meniscus tear, and doing everything that I could, really like bike work, reverse sled drags, like I spoke to you about. And now I'm currently in the best place I've ever been with it. That's good. I still have no answers as to what it was.
Yeah.
So
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, really confusing. That's probably the worst one I've had because of how debilitating it was.
Yeah.
So I didn't barbell squat for about 4 months, thinking that might have been aggravating it. And I did like machine work, just making sure that I was loading like posteriorly away from my knees.
Yeah.
Things like the belt squat, so you can push backwards and away from your knees. And lots of like, slow leg extensions, that kind of thing, to pull the VMO back into line and all that kind of thing. Aside from that, I've not really had many niggles. A little bit of a pectoral pull maybe, but that was the worst thing that I've ever had.
The reverse sled pull that you told me to do is good. And sometimes if I don't have time to set up, just going on the assault bike and going in reverse.
Yes.
Just pedaling.
Walking backwards on a treadmill is meant to be good as well.
It's supposed to be really good, yeah.
Yep, on an incline.
Just don't want to look like a tit in the gym.
You wouldn't be the only one. There's loads of people that do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it a thing now? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll laugh at you if you want.
Please, just the
But you won't be able to see because you'll be facing the other way, so it's fine.
I'll hear him though. Oh, you tit. You're backwards for. So what was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, the thing that I have theorized, because when I'm moving to Dubai, and a mate of mine in Dubai, she's got me back looking at powerlifting. She's got me back squatting and deadlifting for different reasons. She was like, because I swerved it. I was like, it's too dangerous. I'm not going to do it. And she's like, she convinced me. So she took me there's a place there called Desert Barbell. And I was looking around at the people who are in there who are lifting, and they're generally pretty serious in there, like, because there's tons of crappy commercial gyms in Dubai. it seems to be like the culture within powerlifting actually looks like a lot of introverted people. Would you say you were introverted or extroverted?
I don't know. I'd say I'd probably sit in the middle.
Sit in the middle on it, yeah. The test for it is whether you're energized by being surrounded by people or exhausted by being surrounded by people.
Temporarily energized and then quickly exhausted.
Okay. So you might be slightly more on the introvert side of things. Would you say you're more introvert? Or
I think so.
Yeah.
Until I feel safe around people, then I take a step back and I'm more observant.
Yeah.
If I'm around the right people, then I feel energized and actually quite elated.
Yeah.
But if I'm around like a lot of people, I can feel quite exhausted and I need to kind of like retreat and have some time on my own.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I kind of feel like that, I think. So being around divvies is exhausting.
Lower level
exhausted
frequency.
Around me.
lower
I'm
consciousness entities.
Joe's on a break again.
Fucking hell, he's back again. Do you mean like people who randomly just like touch your hair in the gym and stuff like that?
Yeah, that would really be annoying. Could you imagine that?
That would be fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It was like I was watching something from the 1970s. It was so bizarre. I was like, what the fuck is this? Why are you randomly touching a girl's hair?
That's the first time that's ever happened to me, you know.
Really?
I've had a creepy message in the gym before, but not like
message on Instagram.
Oh my God. Yeah, so I got an anonymous message via Facebook message that said, I'm the guy in the hat.
Oh, I remember that
stares longingly in your direction, hoping to catch a smile.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And
were you like, lad, give us your number now and let's just make this happen?
I was like, yeah, let's go.
Let's go, mate.
I actually found out this person was a member and I thought to myself, I'm not going to let that slip because I thought that was a bit uncomfortable because then I noticed him watching me a lot. And then I was a bit fearful to be in work and I spoke to my manager at the time and I was like, can I have this conversation as long as I'm not going to kick off or anything because I'm not that kind of person.
Was it in this gym or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went up to him one day and I was like, hi, were you the guy that sent me the message on Facebook? Because obviously I didn't want to be like, you said this in case it wasn't.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that was me, yeah. And I was like, I just wanted to let you know that it made me feel quite uncomfortable and I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that again. And then he left the gym.
He moved gyms?
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a course I should do on like social skills and like how not to approach women. Doing this in somebody's hair. Number one. Yeah. We don't do that.
Yeah.
Respect for personal boundaries.
Not
physical
cool.
and psychological.
Yeah.
No, that was creepy today. I won't talk about him too much, but I wanted to tell you this when we're in the gym. He's been funny with me a couple of times, that guy who did that to you. I've tried to speak to him and he's just turned his head away.
Yeah.
So, and he did that today before you came out and I was like, oh, whatever, you knob. The first time I did it, swear down, tried to speak to him, turned his head away. And then he went over to the leg press and started teep kicking it, like a Muay Thai teep kick, and then doing this in the air, like he was shadow boxing.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you a bully from a 1980s American high school movie? What the fuck are you doing? Like, do you think like we're going to fight now? I'm 45. I'm fighting you twat. You give me 10 grand for therapy and surgery that I'll need afterwards. I was like, he's obviously in some other reality.
I think so, yeah. For the viewers out there, I got someone touch my hair today. He walked past me, didn't he, in the cafe, and
very strange.
Just brushed my hair, and I turned around and I was like, I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that. And he was like, do what? And then totally denied it.
And then came over and tried to have a laugh.
And then came over and tried to talk to me, and I was like, no, that's not okay.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But before that, there's a girl on her own there at the cafe, and he was stood at the end forcing conversation on her.
Yeah.
And I was like, again, it's one of those situations where I really don't like what you see something weird that's happening, and like I'm not a white knight, and I'm not going to be there all the time anyway. She's going to have to figure out what to do with that. But I thought when you first saw them talking, I was like, oh, they must be mates.
Yeah.
And then the longer I was there, I was like, no, he's not really saying anything to her. He's just, the conversation's like stilted and he's just making her talk to him. He wasn't even ordering food. You just ask her questions and force her to answer them. Like, dude, she's not interested.
Yeah.
Go train, you fucking melt.
Yeah.
And then compounded in that, then you came in
Yeah.
and for some reason you walked past and diddled with your hair. I was
Yeah,
like,
really odd.
because even like I've known you for a while, I'm like, I just don't think at any point in the relationship of being a friend with you, you would enjoy that.
No, I feel like a hug at most is enough.
Well, a hug is a different communication,
Yes,
isn't it?
it is, yeah.
Yeah. Playing with somebody's hair as you walk past them, I'm just like, how do you make that not creepy? It's so intrinsically fucking creepy.
I must say, I don't have that problem.
Do they not do that to you?
They don't twiddle with Joe's hair.
No.
Ladies, please play with Joe's beard. I'll be in trouble. Why'd you fucking say that? My girlfriend wants to kill you. There was a mate of mine in a restaurant recently, and he was sat next to his girlfriend, and he did that on her hair, and I was just like watching it, going, "Do you know how weird you look?" It just doesn't look good.
No.
I can't even think, because sometimes you do something to somebody, and in a different context, it would be okay. That one, I'm not sure that's ever like a thing to do somebody's hair as you walk past them.
No, I think that's weird.
Hopefully he disappears as well and goes to another gym. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is like within that culture that you have with powerlifting. I've discussed it with bodybuilders. Do you think a lot of people with mental health issues end up in? Yes, he does. He's laughing. He's already started laughing. Do you think a lot of people with mental health issues end up powerlifting as a means
Powerlifting
of
and strongman, yeah.
Strength sports.
Strength sports in general, yeah. I think a lot of people who do have mental health issues and struggle with mental health issues find it as some kind of solace.
yeah,
Because I think a part of it will be that it's a very, it can be a very individual sport. You're on your own
yeah,
quite a lot of the time. But also it's not a mainstream sport.
yeah,
So it's not going to be like, there's not going to be a lot of people doing it.
okay.
You're going to be fairly on your own.
It's like an alternative thing to be doing.
Yeah, it's like I think you've mentioned before, haven't you? People who go listen to like a lot of people listen to heavy metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tends to be the same thing because it's a subculture.
Yes.
You can be on your own. You don't have to be with the mainstream. It's a bit different.
Yeah.
It's not like full of happy smiling. Well, depending on where you go, not full of happy smiling people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, and in a way, maybe it's like you can abuse your body a little bit as well.
Well,
Yeah, we spoke about self-harm and training, haven't we?
yeah, we have. Yeah. Yeah. So do you see a self-harm tendency within powerlifting?
But potentially, yeah, because I mean, a lot of them do put their bodies through hell.
Yeah.
I think like it's different. It is very different with powerlifting and strongman because powerlifting tends to be like max weight lifted.
Yeah.
So you're giving you everything to one lift. Strongman will quite often be things for reps or running things for time.
Yeah.
So it'll be like a different kind of like giving everything.
Yes.
Almost in a way more cardio based. It's not very cardio, but it's not one rep.
Well, the things that like that one day that I saw where you both would have been there, and the stuff I've seen on the TV, like my stepfather and my mother love watching strongman, and the stuff I've seen them do, I'm like, yeah, this is like these lads must be fit because they're big, strong boys,
Especially for the sizes of them, they're going to be fit. Like I know it's for their size, they're going to be fit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get a fellow who's 6'5" and 160 kilo,
yeah,
he's never going to be the fittest man on the planet, but he's also going to move a lot quicker than someone.
Well, not I suppose it's fit to task, isn't it? So
Yeah.
if he did a marathon, the littler ones are going to fucking run all around him.
Yeah.
But there was a thing I was watching them do where I was like, wow, that must kill you for cardio. It was taking a barrel and then throwing it overhead over a height, and I'm like,
And they do like 6 of them in a row.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what's the closest thing I know what that's like? Well, kettlebell snatches is not a million miles
Kettlebell
away.
swings.
Yeah.
But you let go at the
swings.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that fucks me up. So like, maybe not for a long run. It's not fitness for that. But then for door work, if I needed somebody to help me knock the fuck out of somebody, I think it would be quite good fitness for about
Or move house.
Or move house. That's a much
I get asked to do that fairly often.
That's a much nicer example than knocking the fuck out of somebody. Because how long, those kinds of events, how long do they last for? Is it like, if you're going to throw the barrels, is it like 35 seconds,
You'll
40
normally
seconds?
get given a minute time limit to do it in.
A minute.
And if they do it with like barrels or sandbags or whatever, there'll normally be 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Get them over as quick as you can. Some people will do it in 10, 12 seconds.
Jesus Christ.
Some people will be trying until the last second to get the last one over. But obviously, because it's like a massive, huge, like explosive lift, you've only got so many of them in you.
I think what happens when I see stuff like that side of my brain from the martial arts training, that nerd side of my brain is going, oh, this would be fucking great for martial arts because of the explosivity and the full pace exertion.
Yeah.
Like, but not something that you're doing for rounds, but like real world, like combatives, like they call it combatives, where you're actually looking for a real world fight. So you'd be training to try and get maximum explosivity inside of 30 to 45 seconds. Yeah. Some of those events, I'm like, that would be fucking great training for that. So back to that desert barbell. So yeah, you're saying like, you see a little bit of self-harm. You mentioned heavy metal. So the music changes straight away. So most of the gyms in Dubai are bodybuilding gyms.
Yeah.
And I'm openly would say I'm more interested in that, but it's clearly a more narcissistic endeavor.
Right.
And the people who you get in there are more, like, most people are sound. Obviously, most people are cool. Yeah. But if you are going to get a problem, it'll be at that narcissistic, mirror-gazing end of the spectrum. Plus, it's trendy, which doesn't help. Yeah. Then when you go into this other gym, there's no mirrors there at all. There's literally no mirrors. The music changes. The atmosphere changes. So you're saying it's more of like an alternative type of an endeavor, generally speaking. Do you get a lot of metalheads who are into powerlifting?
Quite a few, yeah.
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 What do you put on when you're going to lift something horrible and heavy?
It varies. It depends what mood I'm in.
Proud Mary.
I did my first ever 320 kilo squat, getting hyped up by Proud Mary, Tina Turner.
Proud Mary by Tina. I thought this was going to be.
It makes you want to boot a door off its hinges.
Thrash metal or something.
I do like that as well. A lot.
Proud Mary by Tina Turner.
Don't know why. It makes you want to boot a door off its hinges.
I don't know Proud Mary. It makes you want to boot a door off its hinges.
Yes, I don't know what it is. Gets me going.
Fucking Proud Mary.
Yes, Tina, girl, you fucking tell them.
Tell them. Yeah. What do you listen to when you're lifting?
So we were actually having this.
Go on.
Oh, go on.
But keep it
when
calm.
It kicks in.
Quick, calm down. He's going to start lifting.
Fuck.
I love Proud Mary.
Yes.
Where does it go?
It's when it kicks in. It's like a minute and a half in, I think it is. Something like that. So I have to skip through.
It's slow start, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's that rolling one.
Yeah.
Get it to where it kicks in, Jacob.
It's over a minute.
Around 2 minutes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
That's a long lead in, isn't it?
You know what? It just amps me up. I love death metal and stuff as well.
That's pretty good though.
But yeah, I do like that as well. I don't just listen
song.
to one genre though.
Yeah.
I listen to all kinds.
So you don't go.
So I find something that I enjoy that amps me up in every kind of music that I listen to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's what would you, was that Motown soul? I guess something like we could call it something like that maybe.
But it's quite an uplifting song, isn't it? I think uplifting music in general
will help.
Is good for lifting. I was saying it on the drive here actually. I personally don't like headphones when I'm doing my compound movements.
Okay.
But I think it's because I like to hear what's going on around me and I feel like I'm more aware of myself. My balance is centered when I can hear properly.
Yeah.
And then I'll have headphones for like all my accessory work.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get that. I feel that way sometimes. Like if it's an important lift, probably if it was a lift where I was scared of getting injured, I would. I also want to be able to hear. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe you do have just a slight more proprioception if you can.
I think
hear.
I would imagine so because your ears are your balance, aren't they? So,
yeah.
But yeah, generally speaking, when it comes to like powerlifting, it's usually metal music, bit of drum and bass on the playlist. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that I like.
What metal bands would you listen to?
I like Paleface at the moment.
Paleface.
It's very aggressive.
Yeah.
It's very aggressive.
It's very aggressive.
Today I listened to Deutschland by Rammstein. And it gave me a lot of pleasure during my leg extensions.
Yeah, I like Iron Maiden because they're quite upbeat. I like Korn. I've done a few max lifts to Korn at powerlifting meets as well. I think I get the start of the song when I'm about to lift, and then everything goes away, and I don't hear anything when I'm about to lift.
Yes,
I feel I just go very internal, and then I don't hear anything.
I listen to if I'm trying to stay calm, I listen to like Dominican bachata music. It's all love songs, Spanish love songs. if I'm trying to do like a longer session, I usually put it on in Ibiza. There's a gym I go to called Nirvana Fitness, and they laugh at me because I'll be doing the bags, doing Muay Thai, slaughtering the bags, dancing around Spanish love music.
Aww.
And they'll be like, do you understand what they're saying? And I'm like, sí, hablo español, claro que sí. I'm like, what? Why are you listening to this? And I'm like, para relajar. Quiero ser tranquilo. I want to stay nice and I don't want to, because if I listen to like, if I was going to go for it, do you know the Doom soundtrack, the game Doom? Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll rip something
Tasty
off its
that.
hinges.
Yeah.
I'll just take the machine and break it up. I'd love that. Absolutely love it. But that means I'm going to be very sore the next day.
Yeah.
That's absolutely going to kill
Well, I
me.
get that with the bags though, because you want to be a bit more sensitive, don't you?
Yes.
It's not about quick explosiveness. You're doing a 3-minute round.
Yeah.
So you want to keep yourself sort of paced, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stay paced and keep it. It doesn't help me to get too serious on the bags. I think like it's serious enough, and I want to keep it light. I want to do nice movements and stylish movements because you just injure yourself or get worn out if you smash it. So inside of that powerlifting, so the powerlifting and strongman culture is, what do you say for women who do strongman? Do you just say strongman?
A strong women.
Strong women.
Strong
Yes.
woman, yeah.
You say a strong woman competition.
Yeah.
Is it the same culture, or do you see differences between powerlifting and strong person?
No, I'd say it's fairly similar.
I would say it's very similar.
They're both while very different, they're both very similar sports as well.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
big crossover between both.
And you'll find a lot of people that do both as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And has it been easy over the years just to make friends inside of?
I find it really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some really good friends from it.
Nice people. who
Yeah.
are
You find a lot of
involved in
people
it.
on the very same wavelength as you.
Yeah,
A lot
extremely.
of people.
Yeah.
There's a commonality there as well between the two. So like we've got friends, haven't we, all over the country from powerlifting and strongman competitions, and you see each other again at the comps, and then you're like best pals again, and it's nice to feel like a community's there.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, if you meet somebody in the powerlifting and strongman worlds, the attitude is similar vibe to you, a little bit more chilled out, less egotistical.
I think a big part of it as well with them not being very big sports, especially like unless you're doing strongman on the telly sort of thing, and you're running a YouTube and whatever you're doing, they are sports with no money.
Okay.
So people don't do it to make money. They do it because they enjoy it.
They love it,
It helps them. They love it.
Okay.
So it's not like you can. I mean, I think I've won a lot of competitions in strongman. I've in total won a tub of creatine and £150. So, and I've got trophies and medals and stuff, but like tangible rewards. That's
I'm pretty similar as
yeah.
well. I've come first in a lot of powerlifting meets. I've travelled across the world for powerlifting meets.
Yeah.
And I've got some cool T-shirts and some certificates.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So with bodybuilding, there's more of a potential to make money, which makes it.
I think so. There is sponsorship in powerlifting. I suppose like some of the like equipment based like Strength Shop and
SBD.
Cerberus, SBD, they will sponsor some people, but then even then it's only equipment based, isn't it?
As a rule of thumb, that'll be equipment. They won't pay for your travel, your
Yeah.
accommodation. They won't pay for your competition. They'll go like,
Here's a belt.
here's a belt, here's some knee sleeves.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks very much for that.
tag us and everything.
I do think that can make a difference. Like even just knowing how much potential earning there can be in an environment. I found it with podcasting in the last 2 or 3 years. The podcasting space has gotten way more aggressive. Like 3 years ago, it was just like people just. To me, it felt like just people just chatting to each other about stuff that they liked. And then even people that I've been associated with, or I'm at the outer edge of, I'm looking, I'm going, fucking hell, that's all getting a bit hot and heavy. People arguing over stuff and start attacking each other. And then I was like, well, potentially it's like hundreds of thousands of pounds, if not millions, depending on sponsorship deals and what people can do. So it does, there's some people I'm just like, okay, I'm going to start. I want to do my thing.
Yeah.
Just chat to people alike and not worry about all that stuff, because it kind of kills the conversation a little bit, doesn't it?
It's part of one of the reasons why, like, when I do a competition, it's not every competition, but like a few of them, I will have like a couple of beers while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to lose money. I'm not going to lose sponsorship. I'm not going to lose a career or anything.
Yeah.
If I don't win.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, most of I've only just started doing higher level competitions recently.
Yeah.
But most of the ones that I've been doing are like local gym run competitions, like Liverpool's Strongest Man. That's not a qualifier for anything. That doesn't get you noticed for anything.
Yeah.
That is, you turn up, you do a competition, you go in with a trophy if you win.
It's just, and it's you and your either mates or associates.
Or whoever turns up to compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So the one that was done in 2018 that you both competed at, is that the same? Is that the same? Because they were from Liverpool, weren't they? Or was that a Birkenhead based thing?
That was Birkenhead, wasn't it?
That was a local one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it might have qualified you for something, maybe, the winner.
I don't think it did, no.
No, just a local one.
Okay. And it's so that, but you'll know all the people who are doing it in Liverpool as well, presumably, because it's such a small community. So you laughed before when I said that people might be moderating their mental health issues inside of powerlifting. Would you say that most people that you've met, you get the impression that they're also struggling with some things internally as well? Yeah.
I'd say so. Like a huge amount of people that I've met, especially because my background is primarily strongman. I've been to a few powerlifting meets with you, but I've only done a handful myself.
Yeah.
So I've not met as many people.
Yes.
But I do have, so obviously my experience is more with the strongman side of it, but I found there was a huge amount of people that struggle with depression, anxiety, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you ever diversify out of strongman? Would you ever do bodybuilding?
I don't think so, no. I like cake.
You love cake.
I love cake.
I fucking love cake.
Oh, it's unreal. When I was doing a cut over Christmas, I lost, between the end of November and I'd say mid-January, I lost 7 kilo.
Yeah.
I kept cake and donuts in my diet.
Did you?
Yeah.
You did a cut with cake and donuts in your diet?
I did a cut on 4,000 calories though, so.
It just makes me sad.
Yeah, everyone says they love to do it until they've got to do it.
Yeah.
Because when you eat, I'm on 4,500 calories a day, roughly. I'm not like, I don't track everything like you do. I know, when I make a meal, I find out what's in it, and then I know that I can eat X amount of them with whatever else I'm doing. So I don't track everything religiously, but I'm on roughly 4,500 calories a day to maintain weight.
Okay. And how?
But when people say like, "Oh, you're so lucky to be able to do that," I'm like, do it for more than a day with healthy food. Not just eating what you want.
Yeah. Because it's not McDonald's and kebabs, is it?
No,
you've got to be putting the right stuff.
It'd be the dream. But no, I do a fair bit of meal prepping, and I cook a lot at home. So.
And how tall are you?
6 foot.
You're 6 foot
with my shoes on.
And what do you weigh?
132 kilo.
So 4,500 calories is not a huge amount for you, then, is it?
I know a lot of people who are on a lot more.
Yeah. How many days a week are you training?
4.
4 days a week.
Yeah.
And so, some of the other lads that you know would be up to 6, I guess.
Maybe, but they wouldn't do every day heavyweight training.
Okay.
They might do some days as conditioning,
right?
Or cardio.
Yeah.
To keep the fitness up, rather than smashing like deadlifts twice a week and squats twice a week and overhead press twice a week.
Is that what you're doing?
So I do 1 day based around the squat, 1 day based around deadlift, 1 day based around, depending on whether I'm doing strongman or powerlifting, either overhead press or bench. And then if I'm doing powerlifting, there'll be a second bench day.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing my strongman competitions, there'll be an event day where I go and train the events that I've got coming up.
Oh, okay. What's your max overhead press?
155 kilo.
I'm giving up weights.
Oh, that little sigh then.
I'm fucking giving up. 70 I've done. I'm like, I got 70. Do you ever do overhead pressing?
Yeah. I do a lot of overhead pressing. I think even as a powerlifter, like shoulders are really important to keep them healthy.
Yeah.
Every lift requires a shoulder retraction of some kind or a stability of the shoulder. So I'd be very stupid if I didn't include that in my training.
You keep up with that?
Yeah.
I always keep it like clients that I've got going for powerlifting competitions.
Yeah.
The bench will be the primary movements on like the push day.
Yes.
If you want to call it that. But I will also keep in at the minimum, like say a seated dumbbell shoulder press.
Okay.
And dumbbell lateral raises.
Yeah.
Something like that to keep the delts healthy.
To keep them healthy.
Yeah.
To keep people looking sexy on the beach.
Yeah, you got to have them boulders.
Got to have the boulders, baby. What as far as it, would you like to see more of an addressing of mental health issues inside of powerlifting, or do you think that should be like these things should be kept separate?
I think people talk to each other quite a lot about it anyway.
Do they? Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone's very aware of it.
So
everyone who's involved with it.
Everyone who's involved in it. The culture now is quite open to
I think so, yeah.
What sort of age group is it roughly, usually?
Anything. I mean, you get masters categories. There's a strongman category that's 50 plus,
Yeah.
Really?
We've got one in, well, powerlifting goes right the way up to M9, doesn't it?
which is what, 90 plus?
80s, 90s.
Yeah. There was who was that fella?
There was this guy,
At the one we did in November down in Cornwall.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was
Anderson,
Anderson.
86.
86, 87.
86 years old.
Still doing it.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
And he squatted like 130 kilo.
Did he really?
Yep, 130. He did a really big deadlift, and I think he did 100 and something bench, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then at the end, he went round tidying up all the rubbish. And I was like, oh,
Bless him.
what a guy.
Bless him. He's a good man.
It's very inclusive though, because they're starting to actually run some like children's competitions for
teens.
under 17, I think it is.
Yeah.
Because in strongman, there's a lot less like specific categories than powerlifting, because there's a lot less sort of governing bodies.
Yes.
So that it's not run to quite as high a standard. But you normally get the juniors, which is under 23.
Yeah.
And then you get the rest of it's open up until 40, which is masters.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot less weight categories as well. So you get open weight, and then you normally get under 105 kilo, under 90 and under 80
Right.
for the men's. And then for the women's, it's open weight, under 82, under 73 and under 64 kilo.
What, I know that you did a video on training calves with Tyler the other day.
Yesterday. I'm still very aware that we did that video.
You're very aware.
I couldn't squat today.
Oh dear. So what were your exercises that you contributed?
So I did
I know you have a different philosophy with calves, don't you?
So I did first one was like a standing calf raise holding dumbbells, but with the toes elevated onto low plates.
Nice.
To get a nice stretch.
Yes.
Nothing particularly heavy in the hands.
Yes.
There's more of a sort of like a warm-up one.
Yeah.
The second one was using a safety squat bar, just standing doing calf raises.
Okay.
High volume and pause at the top and squeeze at the top.
Pause and squeeze at the top.
And then finished off with sled push.
I remember you telling me I had to do more sled push for the calves. There's nothing, they won't move. They just sat there looking at me going, "I'm what, lad? Do what you want to us. We're not changing."
Yeah.
Look at the size, upsetting. Do you do calves?
No.
Why not? Because you're not an insecure,
Realistically.
Because you're not an insecure man.
Well, you don't really train calves.
I don't train them anymore, really.
Realistically, your calves grow if you're doing heavy compounds, so...
Yeah. And also I've done a lot of truck pulling, so that's a lot of... That works the calves quite hard.
And also, I think because you're quite a heavy boy, his body's carrying around that weight all the time.
Yeah.
So the calves have to grow to carry you.
Yes, yeah. So I need a truck.
Or a weighted vest.
A truck or a weighted vest.
Or both.
Or both.
I know which one's cheaper.
And less likely to kill me. Is this your first podcast?
Yes.
It's the first time you've been interviewed?
Yes.
How did you find it?
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Lot
Did
less
Emily,
scared- lot less-
make you feel safe?
Yeah.
She has the unicorn energy
Yeah.
of protection to
Yeah.
guide you through. That's why she's here, to help you through. You did very well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to you both for coming in. I will get you in again if you're up for it in the future. Yeah. That would be cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for your attention. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Cheers.